Hey everyone, it's me, Halise, endeavoring to persevere as always. If you're new here, I make videos about my chaotic good life. Subscribe, follow, social media, all the things. Thank you so much for stopping by. So I'm an Adobe Creative resident for 2021 to 2022. And to get this, I actually had to build a pitch deck of my project, pitching it to Adobe. And so in this video, I'm gonna actually show you how I built my pitch deck and how I build pitch decks in general, whether it is for something like this, a residency, or for clients potentially, or a lot of times I'll get requests to build decks for potential sponsorships, partnerships, things like that. And so I think there is a bit of a formula to building pitch decks, and I think that formula can be tweaked and adjusted based on your different medium or what kind of artist you are, etc. So I'm gonna actually break this video up into 3 sections: pre-production, production, and post-production, because again, I'm a video producer, so that is how my mind works. So something I will say to start us off in the pre-production section is keeping this in mind. Remember that a pitch deck, your pitch deck, is a form of communication that is a combination of written words and visuals. First thing you want to do is write everything out beforehand. Like, get it all written out, and then also start to find all the different assets you think you will need visually to enhance your written word. But at first and foremost, your pitch deck is the written word. The visuals, the fluff, the design, all that kind of stuff, that's all that. It's all just that. Fluff. You need to actually, at the core, the content of your pitch deck needs to be there and it needs to be solid. So go write that first. Everything that I've included in my pitch deck that I used for Adobe, start to think about how you can potentially adjust these things. So the first thing is the artist statement, or I would say a personal statement as well. If you're not considering yourself an artist, maybe you're an entrepreneur, something like that. And the artist statement, personal statement, is really a chance for you to explain who you are, what you're about. It's almost like I would consider it like a log line of you, but a little bit longer. So it really shouldn't be more than 2 short paragraphs. Again, if you're gonna go the artist statement way, I would say it should give a canopy understanding of the type of art you create. Now, the next thing I think you should include in your deck and what you should start writing about is expansion plus context, or again, depending on what your deck is, introducing the problem. So for my deck with Adobe, for example, I focused on expansion plus context. Really, it ended up expanding on what my artist/personal statement was and expanding on it in a way that gave context to my experience as a video producer, digital storyteller, artist. Here's what I've done the last few years, and I made those as examples to sort of expand on my artist statement. I think this section you can also use to expand on who you are, and in the process of doing that, give context to what your problem is that you think you can potentially solve. So maybe you, let's say you're a product designer and you're pitching a design for a product. I'm a design engineer, blah, blah, blah. I've mostly focused on this, whatever. Expansion section, go into it a little bit more. I have done X, Y, and Z over the years, and because of the things that I've done that are X, Y, and Z, I have started to see that this type of product is missing from the market. And that is now, you have now introduced the problem while also giving context to your qualifications. So think about how you can do that in this next section, because then that'll help to lead you to the pitch or pitches that you're making. I'm not gonna tell you what exactly to put because every pitch is different. But what I can make sure to mention to you, and I think is most important, that I think a lot of people forget, while you may have been ruminating on this idea in your mind for days, weeks, months, years even, you've been thinking about it a long time. It's been in your head a long time. They haven't been thinking about it for a long time. This will be the first time, potentially, that they have heard of your idea, seen your idea, are gonna read about your idea. So be straightforward. Say it with gusto, okay? Say it with your chest. Explain it out in very simple terms. The second thing I think you can follow up with in this section is including relevant samples of your work, whether it be, again, this is what I talked about in pre-production, gathering those materials. Have you produced other, like for example, again, for me, it's about producing a web series, but have you produced other things before? You know, I used some of those relevant samples in my expansion section, but I think also in this pitch section, this can be a good place to put relevant samples. What they be calling it? Case studies. Okay, this is a good place to expand on putting case studies of whatever I'm pitching I haven't officially done before, but here are things that I've done that are adjacent to that. And here's how that turned out. And here's how that went wrong and what I learned from it, what was the tangible takeaway, okay, from that. So now I feel like I am ready to do this with it. Consider including a timeline as well. It's fine if the timeline changes. Just because you're pitching a certain timeline doesn't mean that will necessarily happen. But I think giving the reviewer of your pitch deck a firm understanding that you've thought it through. The last thing I will say in your actual pitch deck, say thank you. Say thank you for having them take the time to review your pitch deck and look it over and all that kind of stuff. You know, I'm from the South, say thank you. So that's a lot. I know that's a lot of pre-production, but those are the types of things you should be writing in your Google Doc and your Word doc, whatever, before you ever are looking for design ideas, for, you know, the fluff and the blah and all that kind of stuff. Now we move into production of the pitch deck, okay? And my biggest tip for production with building a pitch deck is work from a template, okay? Work from a template. Unless you are, in fact, a designer, okay? Unless you are truly, in fact, a designer. And so, you know, even your pitch deck itself is showing your design capabilities. Unless that's who you are, work smarter, not harder. There are so many amazing pitch decks available, pitch deck templates available for you. My residency application pitch deck is a combination of 2 different templates that I found on Adobe Stock. I would say about 80% of my deck was this template, which again is available on Adobe Stock. If you're interested in looking at it, buying it, I will link it down below. And then I also found this template that I really liked. I really enjoyed the sort of scribble scrabble vibe to it. I felt like it was just something that was like very true to my style of me, if that makes sense. But when I looked through the template, I felt like it didn't have enough sections. I would have to rebuild a lot of it and move things around and so on and so forth. But I love that scribble aspect of it, so I took it. Again, these are both InDesign templates. So if you're not familiar with using InDesign, don't worry about that. You can also get on and find Photoshop templates, okay? And Illustrator templates as well. And you'll see those parameters in Adobe Stock. But literally all I did was go to Adobe Stock and type in pitch deck and make sure I change the parameters so that way the right things popped up. If you are interested in me literally walking through, like taking this production section further and literally walking you through like the mechanics of opening a brand new template in InDesign, let me know in the comments below. But for this video, I'm just kind of trying to keep it straightforward, more of the overall goals of a pitch deck. All right, so then moving into post-production, okay? And this is more, I would say this section is more things to think about that are a bit more like abstract and ethereal, but also, again, giving y'all a few more tangible takeaways when it comes to building decks. Think about flow. I am a digital storyteller. That is what I do. And if you look at my pitch deck, it tells a story. And I really pulled from ideas around 3-act structure within my pitch deck. There's a question, there's an exclamation, there's a period. So like with my pitch deck, for example, on pages 4 and 5, I believe, of my pitch deck, there's a section that transitions the reader from who I am and where I've come from, where I'm at now, and the struggles I'm seeing now, and what's happening now. And that section is literally called the transition. You know, don't be afraid to be literal and say like, this is the transition I want to make. This is how I feel stuck. This is all of that. Because you again, the pitch deck is a way for you to communicate the logistics framework of what your project is, your budget is, but also you want to interject emotion whenever you can. My last thing around post-production of your pitch deck is don't make it too long. If you were to actually take literally all the words that you have typed and put them in your Word doc, it shouldn't be more than like a page and a half. What actually will make the pitch deck long is the design. Maybe the transition section needs its own page because you really want that to be a statement. You really want that to stand out. You really want to make sure that the person who's viewing it is seeing that. Again, I'm a digital storyteller, video producer, so I'm a very visual person. And so with my pitch deck, I really did try to figure out on each page, what do I want their eye to be drawn to? Obviously, yes, I want them to read the whole thing, but if they're only skimming, what do I want to make sure they know? What has almost half a page to itself? What has a full page to itself? What's kind of condensed in a section? So if you want to take a look at my full Adobe pitch deck, it is up on my Behance and the link will be down in the description box. In the comments below, I would really appreciate it if you let me know if this video was helpful. I'm always, whenever I do this sort of like how I did this or here's what to think about types of videos, I always want to make sure that I'm giving tangible takeaways and giving valid resources for y'all. So if this was helpful, please let me know so that way I also know to keep doing stuff like this as well. Likewise though, if you felt like something was missing, you wish I had expanded upon something more, please let me know that in the comments too. Critique is helpful. That is how I do better. So please let me know. Just be respectful. That's the big thing. A big shout out to my Patreon producers for being my production partners here on this channel. Patreon.com/Halise if you're interested. There you get early access to videos as well as private weekly vlogs from me. Again, I'm Halise. Thank you so much for stopping by. If you're new here, I hope you subscribe, and I will see you when I see you.